Hey everybody, Martin here, and today I'm assembling the new pressure gate for the Marble Machine X, and it consists of all these intricate looking plywood pieces. In CAD, this design looks like this, and I made 2 live streams where I CAD'd this design on the Wintergatan 2 YouTube channel, and it was so great because I'm really learning so much from chat. Especially I found out that cutting marble paths is easier with the pipe command than with sweeps, and really it's so fun to make the live streams because it's like I'm Neo in Matrix and the chat is like the cable into my brain that teaches me CAD karate. After 2 long live streams I had this design, and now we can finally see if it works when I put it together. When I'm designing these multi-layered plywood assemblies, I'm trying to make all the parts self-locating. So I'm using these screws to make sure that all parts in this plywood sandwich end up and line up on a good spot. So in the middle pieces of the plywood, the holes are larger, so the threads are not completely interacting with these parts. And in the last part, the holes are smaller, so the threads of the wood screw is getting a good bite in the end of the sandwich. And it goes together really quick and nicely, actually. When I use wood glue in this assembly, I'm only gluing the pieces to the left side of the assembly, so I can still totally open the whole assembly with the wood screws. It's not glued all together. So when I made this design, there's been a lively debate if this window here on the side is too big or not. And what is fun is that even without that piece, the marble is trapped. Almost trapped. So if I wanted this much visibility, I could just actually extend this and this a little bit, and we totally see the marbles all the way. But for now, let's put these on. Look at that angle in the front. That's pretty cool. Same on the other side. Oh, perfect. Oh yeah. So the marbles comes out much tighter to each other here than what they enter here. So this marble path is a 3D marble path. It's not in 2D. Shout out to everyone who followed the live streams when I CAD'd these parts. This was a Majoran mask once upon a time, not anymore. This is the PMA holder, and that is screwed on from the front side here. I'm very happy with this design. The purpose of this whole design is to create a module that I can copy 19 times on the Marble Machine X with the same design. And in this module, I've incorporated a very important feature. It takes care of the pressure of the marble cube. The accumulated weight of the marble cube builds up a pretty strong force, and this zigzag pattern, inspired by Rosero's prototype video, is meant to take care of that. Wow! It's effortless. There is more than meets the eye involved in this design. So I explained in the CAD live stream how the marble position in the closed state is calculated very specially because we want the marbles to fall into the zigzag in the open position. And that's exactly what's happening now. You see the bottom marble is riding on the lower 3mm thing. And this is the moment where all the pressure is taken care of by the zigzag geometry. And then when we close again, the cube ends up in this half state. It takes more force to open the gate, but in this direction the Marble Machine X is strong. It's the programming wheel pulling the gate open. To close the gate, we have only a spring, and the Marble Machine X is weaker. The fact that these 3 marbles are not feeding in this 90-degree configuration is by design. It's not a problem because there will always be more marble on top in the Marble Machine X. There's a slight inflation in me saying that this is the coolest plywood parts I ever made. But I think this is the coolest plywood parts I ever made. It started with these prototypes that did not work. And then I checked out a good geometry for the marbles. And then I turned the whole design on its side and made this plywood monster. Look how pleased Wilson is with this result. I'm going to put this part on the Marble Machine X to see how it works in context, but first I just want to show you quickly how I CNC machined these parts. So I started on the backside with these 2mm small grooves, which will be the pilot holes for the screws that hold the PMA holders later. So I really love to have that kind of precision in the pilot holes made by the CNC machine. And now I could remove the part and use these dowel pins or broken end mills and flip the parts 180 and then locate it with high accuracy into the exact same spot and then machine the other side and then begin machining of the other side. So it's a few extra steps, but it's actually not that complicated. I have a brand new ball cutter. It makes super smooth marble paths. It's sharp and new, and the angle is meant to not cause wood fray, and that really worked. I think I made like 11 different G-code files for this, and it's already summer here. My Swedish family don't believe it, so I have to show them some flowers. Ninja! Hey Ninja, help a YouTuber out with algorithm, will ya? Apparently not. So this is important. Of course, the cut is more important, but also important is this cut I'm making manually here. So I'm removing 3mm from the gates, and that is to achieve that perfect marble position. That was the first and last song ever played with this gate. So epic. That's the last piece of music this part ever played. And here's the big point with this video. I'm now able to remove this custom plywood labyrinth, which earlier took care of the marble pressure, but it had a custom design for each of the 38 channels, which I'm now replacing with a module that I can copy paste across the whole Marble Machine X. That is better design. One thing that I dislike about this design is how it attaches to the machine. It's through these 2 holes. I need to transfer them from the old to the new one because I couldn't make these holes on the CNC machine. So the way I transfer them is to locate this part with clamps from all directions. So then I'm using a 6mm drill, which is the same size as the hole, to just make a center divot. So now we should have our divots. Then in the divots, I'm using a smaller drill, 5mm. And lastly, an M6 tap. This does work in plywood. I should correct myself. This works in high quality BB grade birch plywood. The construction plywood you're used to through the construction stores is not comparable to this material. I often get quite a lot of pushback for putting metal machine screws threads into wood, and I would just like to throw some fire on those flames. If your gut reaction to this is to say that won't work, those kind of threads are not meant for wood, you're not really thinking about it in a first principles way, because you have to look at it, what holding power do we need for this special application, right? Here I put a metal thread cross grain of the plywood that is much stronger. Here I had to put it alongside the grain. I'm cringing a little bit more on these screws and nothing at all on these. I'm gonna give you half a point if you thought putting the threads along the grain looks a little suspicious. You have to really look at it from case to case basis. And in this case, it works great. Okay, so this is real moment of truth for the plywood gate. Here we go. Opening, no problem. Ooh, it closes, no problem. Okay. This design is epic. There is so much going on in this thing, and I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of the inputs from the community, Rosero's amazing prototype videos. Yeah, it's working. It's working. I just want to say that there's more marble pressure into this than it will ever be on the Marble Machine X, because this pipe is angled in a way that creates maximum marble pressure. So it's perfect. The snare is the toughest one because the arm is so long, so the leverage is bad. So can it do it for the snare? It can do it everywhere else. In the old design, I had to use an afterthought with extra parts to hold the PMA pipe securely, so this design has fixed that and gotten rid of a lot of parts. So note now, when the gate is closed, that the marbles is not in the correct position. And now, did you see how the marbles fell down 3 mm on this lower gate? And this friction is nothing. I love it, and I also don't really love it. I'm really proud of how this ended and how the live streams resulted in something that really works. And I'm really happy how I could incorporate the pressure gate from Rosero's prototype and kind of mesh that with my previous gate design into something that is much better than what we had before. There's a lot of plywood parts. Quite a heavy machining to make 19 of these sub-assemblies. That's not a big issue, actually. I kind of dislike that you don't see the marbles more. Like if we do this times 19 on the front here, it's kind of hard to see the marbles. They're kind of obscure there, but you can't have it all. And I promise to go for functionality over aesthetics. So I might have to buy this. Perhaps not. We'll see. Thank you everyone for following this crazy project. I know there is a huge part of the audience wondering what I'm actually doing. Why is the machine not finished? And I'm iterating like SpaceX, you know. It's just that I'm on Starship serial number 250. They explode one after the other. I'm going to stick the landing one day.